So I'm back again. Now where was I here? Rigid schedule, yes. Um, and we talked about the oneness, about the guy saying you have to experience exactly what your spouse is feeling, or else you're not really knowing how they feel. If you don't experience like a past, an emotion from something that happened to you similar in the past, then you're not one. If you don't have that. Another thing was, every time they sent us up to the room to do our little questionnaires and stuff, they would always say, and remember, and we all said, enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. It was like this little mantra that they kept telling us to do when we were like filling out these dialogues or these questionnaires and dialoguing. They told us that if we were good and we did our work well and we paid attention, we'd be rewarded with a break. But they pushed us for a whole other hour or so after that, and then we got this little short choppy break, and we're woken up by a phone call again. And during the break we were told, do not leave the premises, stay together, don't try to do anything that's too time consuming because we want you back here at 4:25 sharp. Sure enough, at about 4:27 my phone was ringing. Come down to the conference room. It's called a weekend intensive. I found out what was going on there. That's why it's like so intense that you're just running on empty the whole time you're there. They just cram your head full of information and they don't stop. And when you're dropping over because you're so exhausted and the people around you are snoring next to you, they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. It's kind of this attitude of, we own you for these next few days and we're going to do all we know how to program you to believe in our system. Now, they didn't say that, but that was kind of the underlying thing. And in fact, what they did say was, oh, we don't expect you to remember a lot of this. We're giving you an awful lot of information at once. There's no possible way you can retain that. Which kind of, to me, admits that basically you're being indoctrinated with something, in my opinion. The only other time I experienced this was when I went to an insurance training. Within 3.5 weeks, we learned 1.5 years worth of insurance information, and I got my insurance license. That was for combined life insurance. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but most things that you do that are professional, you need years of training for. You can't possibly be a legitimate agent in 3.5 weeks. I don't buy it. Seriously, it takes years, whether it's ministry, insurance, or whatever vocation. It takes a lot of years and a lot of time. You don't cram it all in like that. Okay, oh, one of the things that really bothered me was when the one couple was talking, the lady was talking about how she loved to play footsie with her husband, and then she even said, like, and I rolled over in the bed and I like to put my knee like between his legs, and the whole room laughed except me. I was like, okay, this lady is so wrinkled and old, she looks like a Shar-Pei, and she's talking about her sex life with her husband in front of all of us. That's just inappropriate, and it was nasty, and it was gross and disgusting. And the other thing they said was that, how'd they put it? Oh, you need to be open with your spouse, because if you're not, you won't be open to God. Okay, I've had this argument for years with people. People have said, well, if you're not getting along with your husband, it's a reflection on where you're at with God. That is so untrue. I have had many times, I've had fights with my ex-husband especially, not so much my new husband because we don't fight that much, but even if we have a disagreement, I'm fine with God. I could be madder than a wet hen at my husband and be peachy keen with God and go to him and talk to him and have a great time with the Lord. So I don't believe that, and to me that's putting your relationship, your marriage, before God. Because they're basically equating the two, saying, well, basically your husband or your wife is next to God. Like, they are God, almost. Because if you can't get along with them, then you're not getting along with God. No, not true. It was just, there was so much. But that's just some of the stuff. I mean, I'm not going to say it is a cult, but I will say that it definitely had some signs of doing things that were very cultic or in cultic ways. The mind control thing happened when we were so sleep deprived and they were just cramming us full of information, and the little side talks that they were giving my husband when I wasn't in the room, insinuating that, you know, our love wasn't real. We saw how you put your arm around her. We know it was just for show. We know that you really didn't do that before you came here. Making insinuations and assumptions behind my back and towards my husband's attitude towards me. It was just inappropriate. It was wrong. And then, like, when we were eating, the leader came over. We were all sitting at this table, and there wasn't enough chairs or something, so they put more chairs, and they wanted us to move down. So he comes over to me and grabs me on the shoulder and says, "Move." And I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Move down." It was weird, because these people, when they were up in front, were all giddy and smiley and happy and, we're so in love, blah, blah, blah. But then there were other times, like during the meetings, when they were very cold. Like, not even the same person. Like, they switched personalities or something. It was like being with a bunch of robots for the weekend. It was very odd. So no, I didn't have a real good experience with the United Marriage Encounter at all. Not something I would recommend to the faint of heart or people that are not strong in their belief system, because there was an awful lot of teachings that went very much against what I believe. And actually very much against what the person that sponsored me believes too. Maybe she didn't have that type of experience, but we sure did. And it was very uncomfortable. Anyways, after hours and hours of this all day yesterday, we were at the table, and a man was talking, sharing about how he met his wife, and the leader turns over to my husband and he looks at the guy and he says, "Say that louder, I don't think Sal heard you." My husband heard him loud and clear. He said, "Yes, I did. He doesn't need to repeat it." Another thing with the mask thing, I told them, they were saying everybody wears masks, and we were discussing it around the table. "What masks do you wear?" I said, "I don't wear masks." I said, "In fact, I so don't wear masks that people in my family wished I would wear masks, that I would try to be more like the normal people and dress up and wear lots of makeup and, you know, just look the part, so to speak, and not say certain things and not post certain things online, and be careful, what will people think of you." That's not me. I don't care what people think of me, within reason. I mean, I don't do totally outlandish things, but I am a bit bolder than most people. So no, I don't wear masks. And as soon as I said that, they changed the subject and went on to the next couple. And that's how they handled the whole time there. If you said something they didn't want to hear, or it didn't go with their little status quo, you got cut off and they went on to the next people. It was horrendous. We were so glad to get out of there. Seriously. I was glad to get out of Chicago in general, but or that area. And then I find out that I was only 30 minutes from what's that place called? The Green. I can't remember what it's called. This really dangerous cult-like area.
Del Green.
What Green?
Del Green.
No, not Del Green. I don't know. Caprini Green. Where there's a lot of violence and gangs and stuff like that. But you could tell, like, we had to stop for gas, and people were just so cold and nasty and mean. They just really didn't want to talk to you. And that was kind of the whole feeling the time I was at the hotel during this thing. So anyway, if you do decide to go in with your eyes open. Now you've been warned. Now you know what to expect. And I've talked to other people that have gone to these weekends, and I've done some research of what is online and talked to the people that I know, and they all experience basically the same thing. The little cult tactics, the brainwashing, sleep deprivation, isolation, promises that were broken for breaks and all that kind of stuff, and then playing favorites, and I don't know, the whole 9 yards. So I just wanted to explain to you what happened. I will be posting those other videos of what I said while I was there going through it, and you'll notice how exhausted I look in some of the videos, because I literally was. When you're up for 6 hours in a day straight, learning, having things crammed in your head, and these people don't let you get a break till like way later, and you're just exhausted. So okay, that's the end of that. Stay tuned. I'll come up with some more video ideas and share them with you shortly. Thanks for watching. Bye.